She still can't even stand.
She's so wobbly.
Sean Wei Lee is furious.
She's upset. But 100%.
Right off the bat, we're having some troubles. I love to hear it, everybody. Welcome into a brand new edition of Axe Kick Picks, episode 132. Today is Sunday, August 25th, 2024. Apologize for this late delay, kid, but how you doing?
Hey, it wouldn't be an AKP episode without some technical difficulties, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, I know what you're saying, kid. How were the fights?
Good. Saturday was a lot better than Fridays. I got to say, even though we did better in the PFL, personally, I did better in the PFL than the UFC this weekend. One of the most boring cards I ever had to go through with the PFL. A lot of the analysts, a lot of the critics agreed. They said that was just a lackluster card, one of the worst ones there ever was.
Surprising, because we talked about it on Friday, the roster and how deep the PFL fight card was, and we thought it was the best one of the three playoffs so far, and it kind of fell flat on its face. I would agree with that as well. Brandon Loughnane does get it. We almost got there with my boy Kai Kamaka III.
You've been riding him. You almost got him to the championship.
Yeah, almost. But I thought he had a great fight. The knees, the knees were doing a factor for Brandon Loughnane. They gave it to him 29-28, 30-27. I don't agree with the 30-27. But great fight, Brandon Loughnane. He does wind up going to the championship. He'll face Tamir. Yeah,
Hizrev. This is what I've been hearing. Tamir
Hizrev.
Hizrev. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. And
thoughts on Brandon Loughnane, though?
Yeah, it's just lackluster, man. It could have gone either way. I was at that point rooting for Kai Kamaka. I was on your side, but Loughnane, he's been the focal point for the PFL. Kind of been like their face of the organization without getting Francis Ngannou. He's a smaller guy, but he's been winning. He's been consecutively been in the semifinals, finals of the featherweight, PFL playoffs, and here he is again in the finals, basically defending his crown. But I mean that Timur Hizrev, he's probably going to be a favorite heading in there just because of that wrestling. So both featherweight matchups were lackluster. I mean, the same for the welterweights. Unfortunately, we had all favorites win this PFL weekend.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for the fights or for some odds for the PFL, but no odds just yet. But I would agree. I do think the way Brandon Loughnane's recent performance has been, you got to imagine he'd be a slight underdog going into the finals.
All the decisions, if he was blowing him out the water, then it probably would have drove the line a lot closer.
100%. In the co-main, you had Magomed Ulamatulov. He beat Neiman Gracie by unanimous decision, 30-27, 29 times 28 times 2. Thoughts on him?
Just wasn't presented with any danger. I thought Neiman Gracie would have a lot more, just that stepping in on last minute, like your last shot, your second chance for him to get that gold, to get that $1 million. It was just, he played it safe, Ulamatov. I can't blame him. I can't blame any of the winners here, all the favorites that they were defending a lot, especially that his opponent, Shamil Musayev, winning the first time around against Murad Ramazanov, and now getting rewarded and having to face him again. So they both just, coasted through with their dominant wrestling. That's what happened here with the welterweights.
And like you said, he will face Shamil in the final. He won unanimous decision, 29-28 and 30-27 times 2. Another, I thought, really didn't pose any threats to Shamil,
No, yeah, that's exactly right. I thought these dogs would have been barking a little bit, showing some fight. That $1 million, that doesn't come around so often in life. And obviously the guys that made it to the final, they're going to be hungry. Hopefully we get some finishes. We get some exciting matchups for the finals for everything we're going to see. I mean, I like the girls we're getting, the matchups we're getting for the finals, and what we're seeing here for the men.
And, you mentioned Tamir. He barely won. He won split decision again. I thought Gabriel Bragda, I thought he fought better than I thought a lot of people anticipated. 30-27 and 29-28, 30-27 times 2. So we'll see. I thought Gabriel Bragda fought well. Ray Cooper fought better than I think a lot of people thought.
Yeah.
We thought he was going to get blown out of the water. He actually won on one of the judges' scorecards. But yeah, he winds up losing a split decision. A lot of decisions, man. It was 4, 5, 6, 7 decisions in a row.
Yeah.
Kind of was like dragging the card along,
Yeah, Enrique Barzola. I thought Tyler Down would bring it a little more, as I spoke of. He dominated there. Same with Jose Perez. I mean, those were two lackluster decisions because they were unanimous. Even with the split decisions, there were closer fights, so a little more entertainment value there. I thought we were going for a different trajectory with how the first two fights started off, both finishes, and I just thought we were going to get a bunch of finishes, and we did not.
Honestly, the you could tell me what you think, but I love these two championship fights. In the women's featherweight, you have Dakota Ditcheva taking on Talia Santos. And in the men's heavyweight, you got Dennis Golsov taking on Oleg Popov. I think those are the two best. Yeah, you got Impa Kasangana. I don't really know. I think he's still going to win. Brent Primus, that's a good fight as well. Brendan Loughnane, we just mentioned against Tamir. But I like that girls fight, Dakota Ditcheva versus Talia Santos and Dennis of taking on Olga. Right?
Yeah, I like those the most, and I actually would rank the women ahead of the heavyweights. I want to see if Dakota Ditcheva is gonna repeat, be $1 million champion, defend her place, and just continue increasing her stardom.
If she wins, do you ever see her eventually down the road not do the series, not do the season format, and kind of go into like the Larissa Pachenko and just do those super pay-per-view fights?
Well, I'll be honest with you. If she wins, I think she's the type to want to test her medal. I do see Dakota Ditcheva moving directly to like the UFC. I don't think that I don't think that she goes to one. I mean, the PFL to keep her is going to have to pay. Only not just winning the $1 million, but I think they're going to have to settle in with some sort of contract like they did with Francis Ngannou, like they did with Jake Paul, right? They have like these contracts set up with some of these stars. I think Dakota's on that level, or soon to be.
Yeah, I mean, she's the biggest star besides Francis Ngannou and Jake Paul, and I think they need to do everything they can to keep her on that roster. She's a superstar, and like I said, or we said, she's a top 5 featherweight in the world, regardless.
Yeah, flyweight. What is she? 125, right? It's 125.
Yeah, 125 flyweight. Yeah. Excuse me. So I think she's amazing, and yeah, they need to keep her. So we'll see what the future holds for her. 0-1, almost got there with the main event. I will not go off the train though. I know he lost to Brandon Loughnane, but Kai Kamara is going to be a good fighter.
Yeah, he's going to be a threat.
Let's go to the UFC though, kid, because
did I mention my record? I went 4-2, nice. And I hit that parlay. Remember we made that last second favorite parlay? Yeah. Well, that hit and the odds were -108. So hey, we had some positive green, even though the card was a little lackluster.
Yeah, even though like it was a little lackluster, still profitable night in the PFL to get us over to the UFC. Fight of the night. It was going to go to the East Coast boys up until the main event. I mean, Dennis Bazooka and Francis Marshall were fucking slinging.
Yes, that was a good fight.
But so was Jared Cannonier and Caio Borralho, man. They got fight of the night, and Caio Borralho won unanimous decision. I thought he did enough to win the fight. And I love it. A lot of people thought, hey, when are we going to see a takedown? He went and he exchanged all 5 rounds with Jared Cannonier, who has serious power. Yeah. I mean, they both wobbled each other.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I thought it was an amazing fight. I thought there were some incidents where Jared Cannonier looked good. It's whoever was pushing the pace and stepping forward. That's who had the advantage in this fight.
Yeah, and I think you could say with all the naysayers with Caio Borralho, the fact that he doesn't finish, but I think he proved it that he has that capability there, that he can, put the pedal down and try to go for a finish. I think it's just the fighting nerds, man. They're just so cerebral.
They're crazy.
Yeah, yeah, and they fight crazy, but they're actually really smart, and they use setups very well. And I just think that they're very cool, calm, and calculated, and he doesn't need to go for the finish and risk a lot of stuff in the fight. So yeah, it's just a matter of that. We see him now having that finish ability. It's just him, being very attentive. I think it's smart on their part for not putting himself in danger and always being in the best position to win the fight. So man, Caio Borralho was for real. The fighting nerds are legit. Let's see more from him. Jared Cannonier looked good, didn't look bad. He had the power, like you said, but Caio Borralho, he's got power too, man. So it was a great performance on his part.
100%. You saw the frustration and I guess kind of disappointment from Jared Cannonier after the fight. I think he knew he didn't do enough. I thought, like I said, I thought there were good moments for him. I thought he won a round. I thought he won second. Honestly, Joe, objectively, it could have been 2-2 going into the 5th round.
I could have said the 4th, right? For Jared Cannonier,
yeah,
could have slid his way.
Second and 4th, I thought were Jared Cannonier's best rounds. I think he definitely won the second.
But that 5th.
That fifth was, yeah. And I thought the damage, I think that's what I gave him the fourth round. He cut under the eye of Caio Borralho. And that was, that was his toughest test in the UFC. And he answered every bell. Dude. I love it. He's top 5 in that middleweight division now. Spinning it forward, what do you see next for Caio Borralho? I think an Izzy fight. It's a great fight, though.
I like it. I don't know. Does Izzy take that fight? You know what I mean? Like, are there more fights out there for him? I mean, does Imavov have anything lined up? I know it's maybe not fair, but it was a controversial win that he got over. Who was he squared up against?
He has Brandon Allen, I think.
Brandon Allen. Okay. Well, if Marvin Vettori, I thought he had something. There's a lot of match makes I've been hearing as of late for 185. So, getting Jared Cannonier now winning. I mean, he might have to wait to see some things lay out, to be honest with you, just in this moment in time, because we're going to see the Robert Whittaker taking Khamzat. Sean Strickland very well will get the title shot. And you did mention Izzy. So if Imavov has something lined up, I just don't know if Izzy's going to take that fight. Is Kyle on that type of level to receive that type of fight?
Yeah, so he is fighting Brandon Allen at UFC Paris. Headlined by BSD, and it's the co-main event. So I think everyone is kind of, has a fight. Sean Strickland, he's probably going to get DDP. Robert Whittaker has the boogeyman. Jared Cannonier just fought Marvin Vettori. I don't know what he's doing. He's getting into fights against Brandon Allen. But I think for Izzy, we're not going to see a long layoff because we saw great signs in that fight against DDP. I think we're going to see a quicker turnaround from Izzy. And to be honest, I really don't believe Izzy's going to fight one of those top guys anymore. He might be he might have to do what Cannonier just did. Kind of give one of those guys at the lower end a shot, like a Caio Borralho, which he just kind of shot up. But I think he fights like that. Roman Dolidze has a fight. He's not going to fight Jack Hermanson, but you know what I mean? He's already fought Paulo Costa, knocked him out. So I think Caio Borralho and Izzy fight makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, 2 guys unranked that everyone's clamoring at 185 is Joe Pyfer and Bo Nickel. I don't think that jumps anywhere soon, but those are matchups that we can see in the future for these guys. If there's nothing else that we could see lined up in the top 15. So watch out. Honestly, any guy in the top 15.
I know you're high on Joe Pyfer, but he's not even in the top 15.
No, but I'm saying any guy in the top 15, watch out because you might get squared up with an unranked guy.
Yeah, 100%. So very good on Caio Borralho. He will be in the top 5 in the middleweight division. And watch out for those fighting nerds. They are on fire. They got fight of the night as well. Tabitha Ricci, Baby Shark. She got the unanimous decision over No Kill Hill. Thought it was a really good fight, back and forth. I thought it could have went either way. I gave it 2 rounds to 1 to Tabitha Ricci, but she looked good.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, incorporating everything of her game, and she's got a good gas tank. She's very strong, man, and she's in her prime. That's I think I was hoping was the twilight of Angela Hill's career. She's in her second prime, or this is her actual prime. But Tabitha Ricci's in her prime, and she looked really good, man. I think that was a good test that she passed there at Angela Hill. She's always been a threat, veteran of the sport. So I mean, Ricci's there, and she's right up with the ranks of them. And I mean, she's lost to a tough couple of girls, and I mean, she can get those matches back. We could see her. Who most recently did she lose to? That was very close. I'm trying to remember the most recent one. Lupe Godinez. I mean, Lupe's kind of fallen off a little bit, right? So if we see that squared up again, we could see her get that back, and then before you know it, 1 or 2 fights away from a title for Tabitha Ricci.
Tabitha Ricci's 6-1 in her last 7 fights. The only loss has been to Lupe Godinez. She beat Jillian Robinson. Yeah, she's beaten Tisha Pennington. She beat Angela Hill. She'll be in the top 10 now in that strawweight division. I think there are a lot of interesting fights for your Baby Shark. She leaves her chin up there a little too much. Even Angela Hill was connecting sometimes. And I know she likes to charge in and, get that takedown. But sometimes when you get into the top 10, there are levels to it. So I don't know what's next for her. Maybe, I mean,
I hate to say it. But do you think she maybe is deserving of like a Yan Xiaonan if she doesn't have anything lined up?
No.
Too
Their
much.
title shot. Yeah, too much. I don't even. That's what I'm saying. It's hard to find her a fight. She might even have to fight backwards because
Might fight
Mackenzie
Lupe
Dern.
Godinez again.
Yeah,
And now be fighting
because
back one because if she jumped over her, then they're fighting for top 10, those two.
7 and 8 are about to fight. I don't know what Marina Rodriguez has, but Amanda Lemos has a fight. Jessica Andrade is fighting next week or 2 weeks.
Jandiroba may get the title, or Tatiana Suarez even.
Yeah, and all 3 of those have a claim to Zhang Weili. All 3 of them. Tatiana Suarez, Yan Xiaonan, and Verona Jandiroba. So we'll see. I like it. I thought it was a good win for Tabitha Ricci to get back into the top 10. But yeah, those were the only 2 ones I got right. The other 2, man, Neil Magny, unfortunately.
Nice.
The kid is for real. Michael Morales, I mean, power, absolute power. Knocked him out in the first round. Good call there, kid.
Yeah, dude. Got that plus money for him there. That felt good because the rest of the night didn't go so well for me betting-wise. But like I said, it was a little more fun to see the finishes in an event like this as compared to the PFL. I like to, I'm all for a promotion, you know what I mean? But you got to put on exciting fights, and man, that's how you're going to compete with the UFC. If they're continually putting on fight nights, if you're having on big playoffs and finals and all these super fights and stuff, and casual Apex cards are outperforming you, it's not boding well.
No, and now Michael Rouse will enter the top 12, take Neil Magny. Hopefully Neil Magny doesn't drop too far out of the top 15, because I still like Neil Magny. I think he's still a veteran and a gatekeeper. And that's no disrespect. I know a lot that has a negative connotation towards it, but he is a gatekeeper at the end of the day. My boy, Santos, the Ultimate Fighter winner. What a knockout. I mean,
we were on the phone. Yeah.
We were on the phone and I go, the kid's good. I do like him, but he gets, the first fight against Edwin Cooper Jr., or split decision. He barely won that fight against Gilberto Torres, unanimous decision. So I'm like, he's probably going to win. Just take him, control the fight. And then literally 2 minutes later, he goes and knocks him out.
I'm like what I'm seeing from this kid. I said, watch out. You were saying the whole time, you're like, yo, I don't think he's got to finish. He's a decision machine. I'm like, bro, I don't know. He's throwing a lot of flying shit right now. He's looking very athletic in there. And before you knew it, boom, that exchange connected. And then that finish, he grabbed his head and just gave him the extra finishing shots, bro. That was vicious.
He put him to sleep.
Yeah,
literally.
bro.
It was a crazy
and good
knockout.
on Ryan Loader for getting that victory. The wrestling, man. All these NCAA wrestlers, bro, you're all American wrestling. If you have that background, a little foreshadowing going to Dana White Contender Series. If you have that background, you definitely have an advantage.
Yeah, Ryan Loader, what a performance. I mean, he was in trouble in that first round, too. Valentine had the rear naked choke in deep, and he stayed calm. He reversed it. He got out of it, and then he got the finish in round 2. He is your TUF 32 winner at middleweight. So congrats to both of them. They deserve to stay in the UFC, especially the way they won those 2 fights by knockout. Our boy, I mean, I had a parlay in for shits and giggles, but this fucking kid, Edmund Shabazi, and I don't want to touch the fraud button just yet, but man.
It's been years now, though.
But kid, anything over minus 250 or 300, you got to just stay away from it. He doesn't deserve to be this big of a favorite, especially a legend like GM3.
Now the most submissions in middleweight history.
Yeah, 100%. So credit to GM3. He was in trouble early in round 1, weathers the storm, and Edmund Shabazian kind of gassed out in the second round.
Yeah, he just like flatlines. It does see that he's got a pulse early on, and then when things don't go his way, he tends to flatline, and then we saw it again. GM3 is a gamer, bro. I forgot who was talking about it, but they were saying that exact thing, and a shout out to them. That they were saying that if GM3 can weather the storm a little bit, he is a grinder and he can catch it late. And we saw it. It's another submission in the books for him, and that's the most in middleweight history. Just like steadily doing it, just a veteran, just sneaky. You don't see it. He's under the radar, and he's a guy you got to get through if you want to make a name for yourself in the division.
100%. The featured bout was amazing. I thought it was going to be fight of the night up until the main event. Dennis Bazooka and Francis Marshall.
Dude, back and forth.
It was insane. Francis Marshall had he came out like a bat out of hell that first round. Dennis Bazooka weathered the storm. He won the second round, and it was up for grabs in that third round, but Francis won the split decision. Very close fight, I thought, but Credit the New Jersey kid. And I didn't know he made the move to AT&T. I think that's really going to benefit him. He's training against killers down there in Florida now. And sometimes that's what you need to do. I know we're very proud of Jersey and where we're from and the fighters that come out of here, but sometimes you need to make the change.
Yeah, absolutely. And he did the smart thing. You do what you need to do to progress in your career. And yeah, he looked good, stepping on a short notice. It just shows that he's been in camp. He's been ready. Like I said, he would have been ready for this fight, but that is Bazooka. He's got a lot of heart. I think the kid still has a place in the UFC. He's been in it at every fight. He has a knockout ability. It's there. But, there's some things he needs to clean up. So if he gets one more shot, if he has a contract that has one more fight remaining, if you see him get a nice finish, I think you keep him around, maybe sign him back because he'll be an entertaining fighter. He doesn't want to give up in there, even on the losing ends, and he does have that finishing ability. So, yeah, shout out Friar Francis Marshall and Dennis Bazooka.
Good experience for Zachary Reese. I mean, he's never gotten out of the first round. To go full 15 minutes with a tough Jose Medina. Thought it was good for Zachary Reese in the development of his career as well. He gets the unanimous decision win. My boy Slavakos.
Yeah.
He made this one closer than I wanted, but he got the split decision win. He's another guy where I like, but he takes his foot off the gas a little bit.
Yeah, and then I'll immediately cut it forward to the next person, Jacqueline Cavalcante, because you saw the same out of her. She used her reach well in there. 3 consecutive fights where the losing person was very tough and very competitive because Josiane Nunes, as I said, Hamas, Jan Top, and Jose Medina, they all came ready to fight. They just came on the short end of it.
Except Wong Kong, who knocked her out in the first minute. She started it. She's like, wow.
Scary, bro. I didn't even see the win. She had the Joker face paint and she's like, you have nowhere to hide. And she started shooting at her. Bro, that was a vicious finish, bro. She's got hands.
Oh my God. I was like, if this is what's gonna come for this fight card, we're in for a treat. And then it went to a lot of decisions. But that's usually how it goes.
It made up for it.
Overall, 2-2. I do miss on the over 1.5 for Neil Magny, Michael Morales. And I wind up losing. My boy took a shot on Dennis Bazooka, but I win the co-main event and the main event. 2-2, 500. I'll take it going into the week off. What'd you do, kid?
Yeah, I took a lot of chances this weekend, so I wound up 3-5. And not the best weekend, but room for improvement. See the board a lot better going forward. And, honestly, I think a week off may do me right. So we'll get back to it after.
100%. I think it will do right for both of us, get our mind right a little bit. By the way, you saw Floyd last night? He dominated my boy John Gotti.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, if you can keep doing this and keep making money, good on him, and that's why we're saying that maybe it was in Mexico because that was the only place that would sanction some circus of a fight like that. So, no more. They even kicked out the referee.
They did. That was crazy. Floyd kicked him out mid-fight, and a new guy came in.
Never seen that before, but that just goes to show that he's the A side.
Is this like a circus thing?
Yeah, I mean, he's the A side. He's the best side.
I did like afterwards. I don't know if you caught it after the fight because I know it was late over here on the East Coast. But Floyd Mayweather respecting Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. after the fight. I thought that was a cool thing as well.
And they squashed it with John Gotti. So it was a good overall thing. And then I just wondered what's next. Like I said, he's probably going to wind up being able to make some more money doing another fight. So what's next to come for him?
Yeah, probably another exhibition because he will not touch that record, nor should he. But yeah, overall, a really good weekend. How did 10 seconds left do?
Woo! Yeah, we're back, man. 2 weeks in a row. I had plus 195 hit for KSW 97. Matthew Scheffel, he had fought after the PFL in KSW, lost the debut, but he found his footing beating Simon Bahor. So we hit on the plus money. We hit on Christian and Billy the week before. We're 2 in a row, and we're looking to keep it. We're going for, Dana White Contender Series. 10 seconds left.
Oh, fucking yeah. So before we do that and get into some news and 10 seconds left, a quick word from our sponsor. We are brought to you each and every episode by Viva Tequila Seltzer, the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market, hands down. There's no wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition. With only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV, Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebration as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We flavor tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with just a kick, just like how we like our lives. Whether it's Huckleberry playing around a golf with the boys or a new flavor, coconut, we're trying to get it. Talk to the people over at Viva. They're trying to bring it over here to the East Coast. Once it is, we will have it. But yeah, if you're having a coconut, go over there. crack open a coconut. It's the perfect flavor with that artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. Our belief here at XK Pigs and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. All right, just one note before we get into 10 seconds left. Our boy, we all thought he was going to fight for a title. He got cut. Muhammad Mokaev, he has signed with Brave CF following his departure. He's previously fought for the Middle East promotion. I don't know anything about Brave. Do you know?
Yeah, I've seen them. I don't know if I've actually like laid out any picks or plays for them. If I've had odds posted, sometimes with the foreign promotions, it's hard to get them on books. But yeah, no, I've absolutely heard of Brave CF. We've absolutely have in the UFC Brave CF alumni. So yeah, I'm sure there are fighters that are all over other promotions from their original place in Brave CF. So yeah, I think it's a highly competitive Middle Eastern promotion. And I mean, he's going to probably have to stay there for a while before making his way back to the UFC. But, once you're like blacklisted by Dana White, I mean, he may never be back. It could be just him getting the championship at Brave and maybe going to one. Or, the PFL said they didn't have a place for him because of the weight class. So honestly, one has very highly competitive, smaller guys. He could go there. Maybe they don't want to take him or take the risk just yet after all the fiasco, let things die down, because their market department is very smart and they don't want to, take on any of the drama that they may get with him. So yeah, I keep him under the radar in Brave CF, and then let's see what happens next for Muhammad Mokaev.
Yeah, maybe this is a stepping stone to get back, kind of mature, kind of, grow up a little bit. The guy is still very young, but he went 4-0 in Brave. He got a unanimous decision win. He had a rear naked choke in the third round. He had another unanimous decision win. He had a rear naked choke in the second round. And then he had no contest. It was an accidental groin kick.
If you could work on that stand up and the striking, I think it'll fare him well. Yeah. I mean, he knows how to wrestle. He should know how to spar when it comes to grappling and all that. So I think he should just directly work on his stand up. But I don't think he needs to work on that anymore. The wrestling and the grappling, I think he's already ahead of a lot of people in his weight class. So if he could just work on that striking and improve there, I mean, he'll be a tough person to beat if he can ever find his way back to the UFC. I mean, we saw him fighting for a title next, and that got cut short because of the antics. So cut the antics, like you said, grow up and improve on your stand-up. And I'm sure Muhammad Mokaev will be back in the UFC if he does the right thing.
If he does the right thing, because the talent is there. We're not doubting the talent. We know he could fight. It's the antics out of the ring. And the matchmakers, they said he was a headache. They told him to stop, and he did it. It's like a little child. It's like when your mom says, "Stop, Joe," and you continue to do it. Yep. You're annoying at that point.
Yeah, so, and then you face repercussions, and these were the repercussions.
And the belt comes out. But yeah, that's all the news I had. No boxing. 10 seconds left. We're in the week 3, kid. Remember, favorites have been profitable here through 2 weeks.
Yes, they have been. And I do have a fair share of them, but I do have some dogs. So even though they haven't been barking, I see some value with some of the dogs. But let's start it off in the first fight. It'll be in the flyweight division. It's between Jack Duffy. He's undefeated. Taking on Nick Piccinini. He is also undefeated. I like Jack Duffy. See it in his resume in the past. He has some good stand-up, but man, one of the fights I saw him, it was a little farther ago than I would like, but he got dominated in wrestling exchanges, and they might have been kind of new to the sport, but I didn't like that. And when you face off, we talked about it, a little forecast, a little foreshadow. We said when you have that background of the NCAA wrestling, All-American, Nick Piccinini, he's got that background. I think this is going to give him the advantage here. We saw it with what Ryan Loder just now winning the Ultimate Fighter. Look at all the guys coming through the ranks that have the D1 wrestling in their back pocket. So I like Piccinini here. He is a favorite. So we're starting off with a favorite at minus 285 as compared to Jack Duffy as a dog of plus 250. Not playing the dog just yet. Let's go with Nick Piccinini minus 285 because I don't see any props available just yet. I do think a submission's live. He's found a lot of submissions in the early part of his career, but the wrestling, if it's hard to submit somebody because they're feisty down there, it'd probably be a decision. So probably double chance, like submission or decision. I mean, he could surprise the hell out of us if he gets a finish with the TKO in there, and now just open up the the game that he actually has. So
Joe,
a
that's what
lot
saved
to
me in
expect.
the main event, the double chance. Remember, you're like, oh, maybe a finish or a submission. I was like, nah, I liked or a submission or a knockout. I was like, I kind of like decision, and it actually
Yeah.
saved me.
There you go.
But yeah, I'm looking at the odds right now. Minus 300, Nick Picatteri, big favorite. No props up yet for like over under rounds, KO, inside the distance for any of the fight. Granted, we are recording this 2 days before, but closer to the fight, there will be props available.
Yeah, and like you said, I think that's a safe bet. I think going with the double chance for him to get those odds down a little bit, being that you said a minus 300 right now, would probably be the best way to get value out of him. So let's go into the next fight, and it's in bantamweight. It's 135 pounds. Malcolm Wellmaker is undefeated, but he's taking on a long and tough Adam Bramhall, the samurai. I like the dog in this spot. Wellmaker's minus 160, but I think he's going to have a size and reach disadvantage. And I like Bramhall's experience. He's got twice the amount of fights as Wellmaker. So give me the more seasoned guy, the guy who's going to be bigger in there. And I think, I'll be honest with you, even though Wellmaker does have a lot of finishes in his career, I think Bramhall's going to have the advantage when it comes to grappling. I think he could find his way to his back and maybe give some problems to Wellmaker and match him on the feet. So I think there's a lot of value in the dog. Give me Bramhall. Give me the samurai plus 140. We're back with the dogs. I hope that they're barking. Finally get some dogs to bark in the Dana White Contender Series.
Do you usually bet on more guys with more experience? Like you said, Adam Bramfield has 15 pro fights compared to Wellmaker, who only has 7, and he's the underdog, which is surprising. But if you look at the next one, Marco, he has 12 fights and he's the underdog.
Well,
so
if you look at the amateur ranks, Wellmaker has a very much more amateur career, so they kind of match up in terms of their experience. I don't know. I just saw some of the footage from Bramhall. I like what I saw from him. I think he's got an educated jab, and I feel like he could stay away from the power that Wellmaker possesses, because that's his bread and butter, is to kind of get in there and get into the pocket. I see some finishes on the ground with some rear naked chokes, but for the most part, he's going to stand and bang with you. And I think if you could stay away from that power, stay away from the danger, Bramhall, he has that experience. He can do so. And see, some guys you can't deny, like Bo Nickel. He had 3-0, comes into the Dana White Contender Series. You can't deny it. Granted he has all the wrestling, but there are other guys too. You see it. Some guys they have the it factor. You can see it. They pass the eye test, even when they don't have the experience in the amount of fights. Some guys just have it. Now, you said Marco Tulio was a dog. I didn't see that, because Matthew Duclos I saw was a dog. He was plus 310, and Marco Tulio was minus 375.
Yeah, I read that wrong.
Yeah, I think his debut had a lot to do with it, because, he's already been here to Dana White Contender Series. Granted, he didn't get the contract. He had the decision win, but Pellegrini, he was tough. He got through a tough dude, and then Dana said, you know what, come back after you have a couple fights. He fought in LFA and he got a finish there. And so he's back, and I think he's the right side. I think Duclos has been finished before, if I'm mistaken. He's lost by KO TKO before. He's been submitted before with a Brazilian dude who's definitely got stand-up capability and the ground. I think Marco Tulio is the right side, and he is a favorite at minus 375. So I probably would go inside the distance. If the other guy has been finished by both KO, TKO, or submission, I think Marco Tulio has the ability to do either or. So I'd probably play him, double chance, submission or knockout, which is, inside the distance.
This next co-main event is the closest ones according to the odds.
Yeah, it is. And it's because we've seen Brogdad Grad here before. And, he's a slight favorite, but he's fallen short before. And Michael Asla, he's plus 120. I see value in the Texas kid here, because he likes throwing, man. He likes throwing his hands in those Americans, bro. They get in there, they get rowdy, and he's never been finished before. I like Michael Aswell in the spot. Bogdan Grad has been finished before. If he throws that spinning stuff, even though that has power behind it, he could catch you. If that does drain his gas tank, he can wind up getting caught himself. And I think Michael Aswell is pretty traditional in terms of his striking and wrestling. So I'm going to go with, the more orthodox fighter and take Michael Aswell as a dog in this spot at plus 120. I see value in the Texas kid.
Love it. Texas forever.
That's right. And we've made it to the main event of the Dana White Contender Series. It'll be in the middleweight division. And Andre Pulaev, man, I don't know how he's a dog in this spot. He's plus 140, but I guess I understand why, because it's against the White Widow, Liam Anderson, minus 160. I think a lot of people have been clamoring about Liam Anderson. making it. Now here he is. Here's one of the guys you spoke about, like, you know, not having that much of experience in terms of, you know, the professional ranks, but about a 10 fight, you know, veteran in the amateur ranks, you know, so he's got almost 20 career fights, you know, under his belt. Liam Anderson is a lot more seasoned and polished than you would actually expect from him. Pulev lost a lot of his amateur ranks, man. I think Liam Anderson I think he was a champ at, you know, he's New York, New Jersey guy. I think he was champion at CFFC back in the day. Yeah, I think he was champ there. You know, competed in LFA. That's one of the highest promotions you can get to, and he's won via finish in both of his LFA appearances. I got Liam Anderson in the spot, man. I think the value is good on him. He's minus 160, so it's not too chalky. You can play him straight up, get it done anyway. But I mean, dang, if we get some props up, I mean, Pulev is tough. I might just want to just play it straight up. I wouldn't want to go to specifics. For those favorites, you want to maybe get some props, get some squeeze out of it. But I take Liam Anderson any which way. Minus 160 is fair for me.
Yeah, so keeping an eye out. I think as the days grow closer to Tuesday night, we'll see over-unders. We'll see props come posted. If Joey likes anything, he'll tweet them out. He'll get it to you guys, whatever you like. But Joe, good luck. Let's keep it rolling here and get.
I'd love to go 5-0. Yeah, bro.
Oh yeah, dogs are barking, kid. I love it. But that's gonna do it. Any big plans this week, kid? What's on the agenda?
Oh no, nothing, man. You know, just laying low, just seeing how it goes for the Dana White Contender Series. I think there will be like LFA and some one on. I wonder if there's bare knuckle boxing, but I know we got some WWE, right? Bash in Berlin. Yeah. So you know, even though the UFC will be taking a week off, that'll bode well for us. We'll still have other stuff in store.
100%. We'll be back this Friday. Bash in Berlin. From Las Vegas all the way to Berlin, Germany. Cannot wait for that. But, Joe, that is going to do it for this Sunday edition of Axe Kick Picks. On behalf of Joey, our sponsor, Viva, I am D-Rock. Make sure you guys go follow along our social media, Twitter and Instagram at Axe Kick Picks. You guys can find all of our episodes wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, rate, give us a review, leave in the comments who you'll be betting on this week. All that good stuff really helps the show grow tremendously. So be a friend. Tell a friend. Good luck this week, and we will see you guys on Friday. Peace.